What you see in the back is a tug of war between bankers and Robin Hood merry men and women. They're actually fighting for the financial transaction tax, or as we call it, the Robin Hood tax. It's a tiny tax on banking speculation, on speculative trades that can yield enormous revenues that we urgently need to tackle poverty, to fight climate change climate change adaptation, and to fund global public goods such as healthcare around the world. That are all things that politicians committed to do, but we don't know where to get the money from. This is a historic opportunity actually to use the Robin Hood tax to finance these things.
Okay, and can you tell me which countries are still struggling? So like America, why can't it be, who are against it actually?
There's enormous lobbying of financial institutions, of bankers going on to really fight against this very good idea. So in many countries it's quite on a tipping point where we might go to the one or the other direction. There's widespread support actually. There's Austria, Belgium, Angela Merkel, Sarkozy. They all spoke out in favor of the financial transaction tax.
And who are against it then?
There are some alternative ideas, but they're not actually an alternative. They're complementary. For instance, there's Obama had the plan of a bank levy, and it really fits well together. But it's not an alternative. You can have both of it actually.
Okay. And why is it actually now? Is it because of the crisis that the Tobintaks will be entered now?
It's a good opportunity because actually the speculators caused this enormous financial crisis with devastating effects on millions of people. So we need now to find ways to get this money back from them, from their enormous bonuses and profits, to fund first-hand the costs of the crisis, and second-hand to help fund other things that we urgently need. So in the end, I lost the day.
So can you just tell a couple of countries that are against it? Just name some countries.
I don't know actually of countries who really spoke against it.
Oh, yeah.
That is the first point. There's in the academic economics, they all say that it's more or less feasible, it can be done this or that way. There are countries who are more in favor of different kind of taxes. There are some countries who are a bit hesitant to introduce it. Maybe in England or in the US it's a bit difficult at the moment, but I think in general there's no clear objection to it, if not the lobbying of financial actors.
And what will they actually do with the money?
Well, the money should be spent on tackling poverty, funding global public goods such as healthcare and climate change adaptation. We fear that the money would be used simply to insure banks for their next crisis and fund future bailouts. It's not what we want, to give them the opportunity to even go into higher risks. We need the money to tackle poverty, and this is also something we need to ensure.
And how will you prevent that the bankers are going to use it?
We need, ideally, there would be an international body who's actually earmarking the money that's coming from the financial transaction tax and ensuring that this is spread in a fair way to all the needs that we decided that it should go to. It can also be done on the European level. Then the European institutions will be in charge of deciding where the money should go to. This is a question of regulators to do wise decisions on that and then to stick to them and not cave in towards financial lobbyists.
Countries are still against it.
Well, it's unclear at the moment as to which countries are absolutely cast iron against it. Every country has said to some extent they're in favour of it. It's the detail of what exactly they're proposing and what exactly they're in favour of. The only G20 country, major economy, that said they're definitely against it is Canada. And European countries have actually taken quite a considerable lead on this. And we're asking today for the EU heads of state at their meeting to demonstrate global leadership and demonstrate they're willing to take action to advance the financial transaction tax, or the Robin Hood tax.
Yeah. And why would they be against it?
Well, it's a very good question. Why exactly? I think they're very protective of their own financial sectors, their own bankers. And the bankers have been very strong at lobbying over a number of years, but now really is the opportunity for people to call on their leaders to rebalance the justice of the tax system so that taxes fall upon bankers just as much as they fall on you, me and everybody else.
Yes, and why is the tax entering now? Why not a couple of years ago?
That's a very good question. We've been asking for this for a number of years. The global civil society community have been arguing that it's unfair that the financial sector is not paying its way. It's unfortunate pre-crisis the leaders didn't listen to the arguments we have been making, and I hope that now they fully understand that with this crisis how much it is important for the finance sector to pay its own way. It's only a very small tax we're asking to be applied to them, but it would raise billions of euros for expenditure against climate change, against global poverty, and on social expenditure here in Europe.
And what will you do with the money actually? For which countries is it?
Well,
most?
we're suggesting that the money would be split half for global expenditure and half for domestic expenditure here in Europe. And the expenditure on a global scale would be split in two, one to fight climate change and the other half to go in the fight against poverty. There's Millennium Development Goals on development need financing, and they're very off track. We're not going to succeed in getting our development goals achieved, especially the health ones, which are very, very far off track. So we really need to find a new source of money to make sure we keep our promises on how we're going to help the rest of the planet.
And the domestic part, what do you mean by that?
Well, the social expenditure on health and education, on all the items that we need to find money for our domestic budgets, which is currently very much under pressure, ironically enough, by the finance sector, who want to see our budget deficits reduced. They want to see our budget deficits reduced, but they're not willing to share the pain of taxation to contribute to solving this problem. Yeah. And that's where the money would go to help education, to help health, to help social expenditure across Europe.
And when will it start, you think?
Well, if the G20 agrees at a global level for this transaction tax to be implemented, it could start as early as next year. But the part of the tax could be implemented as early as the end of this year by Europe. We have control over the taxes we charge on our own currencies, the euro and the other currencies, and if we did that, we could start that now. We could start it tomorrow if we really, really wanted.
So not every country has to accept it?
No, we can do it on our own. We can demonstrate our leadership and our political will by implementing the bits that we can do ourselves. You have to recall,
in Europe, you
in
mean?
Europe, you have to recall that already in the City of London, one of the world's biggest financial centres, they have such a trading tax already. So it's not the case that you can't apply it unilaterally. You can. Yeah. It just means it's more effective if everybody across the world does it.
And then which country in Europe is still against it?
We are unsure as to what precise political positions people are taking. We understand that the Italians are rather hostile rather than enthusiastic, and Gordon Brown he was enthusiastic at the G20 where he announced he was in favour of this last year. He's subsequently been rather quieter on the issue. We'd like to see him reiterate the support he's expressed previously. Other smaller member states who don't have such a large financial sector are not really the problem. The problem is the countries with the large finance sectors who are protecting their own bankers and their profits and bonuses.
So it's kind of selfish, actually.
It's self-serving. The people who cause the problem are very able to ensure that their governments protect them from future taxation. And we want that to change. We want leaders to ensure there's tax justice and that the finance sector pays its way.
Yeah, so they who are the worst, they actually are struggling against it.
Yes, and it's strange. In the UK, there's an election currently, a campaign underway, and the Conservative Party have said they would now implement some policy unilaterally. It's unclear exactly whether that would be a full financial transaction tax or just a smaller levy on the banks. The Liberal Democrats have also said that they are in favour of some form of taxation, but all three parties are yet to come out clearly and support what we have been calling for precisely, which is this small micro tax on the banks to provide money for everybody rather than just to help the banks bail out.